Hello, and welcome to this Thursday live stream. And we're going to continue on with the Orc Sculpt and just chill. And you guys can ask me some questions. I hope everyone's having a good week so far. Um, so, yeah, we're just going to continue on from where we left off last time. I'm going to take as many questions as I can tonight. We'll just chill out. I wanted to touch on a few other things that I've got coming up as well for next week. So, yeah. And also future projects. I hope to make sure that you smash that like button and follow and all these other things. I'm not going to go too much into it, but you can become a member, a YouTube member on my YouTube channel. You can then get all the archive videos or archive live streams of everything I've done so far, and also become a patron. You'll also get exclusive content on there, as well as tutorials, brushes, exclusive sort of previews of my next artworks that are coming out. And also, I have an online store. If you want to go, you can grab some stuff from there, like all the tutorials, all the brushes that I use in these live streams will be available in the online stores. All the links are in the description box below as well. Cool. So I'm just going to hide that. This is actually, this is episode 5. So we're up to episode 5, which is great. And we are doing live stream creature sculpting tonight. And I'm using ZBrush 2022.0.7 for this concept that we're creating, or I'm creating. So without further ado, let's jump into the scene, ZBrush scene. Oops, there we are. So last week we finished off, or we finished off by projecting the detail of our orc and also getting some cleaner topology, as you can see here. He's got much better cleaner topology than he did before. And we can now go in and start doing some actual detailing work. The idea of this is this stream is to start adding those asymmetrical details along the face, and also, if we have time, just sort of a general cleanup and a general sculpting on our model. We are using these references down here. I think you can see that. Yep. As a reference point for our sculpts. So I'll just be cycling through these and just trying to find the best ones that will suit my creature that I'm trying to do. I'm just going to come over here and turn on some music. I keep forgetting to do that. Yeah, turn it down quick. That should be all right. Cool. So I'm going to come in here with a dam standard and with the alpha 47 turned on. What I want to do first off is just turn it down. I just want to turn off the symmetry, and coming over to these images down here, we just want to try and break up that middle section of our character's face. A lot of these have got pretty good symmetrical on them. But you can see here, when we start to get near the middle of our creature, we really need to start to think about changing the symmetry of it, the symmetrical look of it. So just with a dam standard, I'm just going to very lightly come in here and start penciling. I call it penciling. It's just a very light stroke of the brush to pencil in some wrinkles. Now these are going to be the sort of dominant wrinkles that you'll see on this creature. The ones that are quite deep, the deepest ones. There will be other wrinkles that we'll look at a little later that are less defined, but they just give the surface area a good look. Oh, if everyone could just, or someone could just put a thumbs up for the audio. I'm not quite sure if I'm coming through all right. That'd be great. And it's at this point that I'm also going to start using the smooth brush now a little bit more. Normally, I'd say don't use the smooth brushes at all, but when it gets to the point where you're sort of working on your detailing, you can then start to use the smooth brush just to clean up areas a little bit more. So you can see here we have some asymmetry in the middle of the chin here, so I'm just going to sort of copy that in there. Please also, if you have any questions, just chuck them in the chat and we'll discuss anything you want to discuss. This chin here could possibly do with a bit of a angle. So now this is just the detailing asymmetry where I put the detail on. There's also the symmetry when it comes time to posing it. We're going to have something that looks a little bit like this, but we want to be able to in the posing section just tweak some things here and there. It's going to actually make the model look a little bit more asymmetrical and a little bit more alive. At the moment, it just looks like a statue because it's quite deadpan face, right? What we want to do is we want to keep it like that for now, but when it gets to near the end, we want to change it up a bit so it doesn't look so deadpan. Essentially, the middle line here is going to be asymmetrical, but if we want to speed it up a little bit, you can actually make anything on the outside away from that central line. You can make that symmetrical because it won't really show up too well. It won't really show up in the final piece. So it's safe to use the symmetry here in these areas. Also going to try and use the trim dynamic to sharpen a few of these areas up. How's everybody's week going, by the way? I think I've asked this already, but yeah, hope everyone's having a good week. Just going to grab the dam sand again and really start to work in some of these wrinkles along the lips. This one here is good for some of those bigger sort of wrinkles, but we really want to focus on detailing it even further. We need to change the reference a little bit more. Like this one here has some really good looking detail. You can really get in here and use it as a reference to add the wrinkles in, so you could see all this work in here can be used. So on the sides of his lip here, we can just emphasize some wrinkles here, just very lightly. Use a sort of smooth brush a little bit. Now you could go forever actually doing all this detailing, and you can do every single pore, every single sort of dimple or everything like that. That's totally up to you, because at this point we are happy with the baseline sculpt. So you can just spend as much time as you like detailing it further. So there's no changing it now because we have committed ourselves to this general look on our character, or of our character. So a little bit difficult to go back now. Just going to pencil some basic wrinkles in here. Now, what a good brush to use with this would be the standard brush as well. I've got a question here from Carlos saying, render Photoshop are you going to do? Yes, I will be doing a Photoshop render of this and the compositing of this character once we've finished sculpting it. It shouldn't take too much longer, the sculpting, but because this is more of a chilled session, I'm not going to rush through it. I want to sort of, enjoy the sort of process. But yes, at some point we will get to the Photoshop of this. And just going to use a standard brush to make these wrinkles slightly thicker. Now, so you can see, got some slightly thicker wrinkles in here now. Adds a little bit of volume to it. There we are. It's a bit strange, but we'll let that stop us. Where's that? Yeah. I keep trying to look for the references up here, but it's just StreamYard up here. It's quite funny. Okay. Now, believe it or not, even I get a little bit stuck at this sort of stage of the sculpt, because for me, it's like looking at a blank canvas, if you know what I mean. And the worst thing you can do is look at a blank canvas for too long. So the best way to counteract this is to use some alphas, which I do have in my alpha section there, which we're going to get to in a minute. But essentially what you do is you plaster your character with these alphas, and it kind of just breaks that precious mode that your brain has been in since you started sculpting this character, or you started sculpting your character. And what I mean by that is, when you're sculpting your character, you kind of don't want to mess it up as an artist. You know, you want to keep it nice and perfect throughout. But by using alphas to sort of break the habit of trying to sculpt perfectly, you can then go in and just sculpt on top of those alpha maps that you've created, or details that you created, a lot easier, I find, because you're not sort of weighed down by a perfect model, like a clean model. You know, it's like having a piece of white paper and a pencil. It's kind of difficult. You don't really want to touch the page because you don't want to mess things up before you even started. So, you know, using alphas just helps your brain to turn off from that sort of thinking. Hope that made sense. Just gonna come in here and add a few more wrinkles. Actually, I forgot to even change the texture here. Hold on 1 second. There we are. This is a much better texture to use, a basic material. As I mentioned before in the last live stream, it gives you better shadow details, preview sort of shadows on your character to work with, and depth. Okay, how's that looking? Not looking too bad. Just going to turn off symmetry again. And the other thing you can do to break up the symmetry of your character is to add extra items. So for like these orcs, you can see, if I just make this a little bigger. For these sort of orcs, you can see, to add more symmetry and more character, you can add like earrings or nose rings or tusk rings. You can even add necklaces and shoulder pauldrons and stuff like that, just to make it look a bit more interesting as well. You can see here, he's got an earring on here, a couple of earrings, and he's got the nose ring there. So that also helps to sell your character as well. Even the hair makes them look really cool. We could actually do that if you like. If you want, I could show you how to do very quick looking sculpting of hair. I think ZBrush has got quite a few good brushes that you can use just to sculpt some quick hair. Because we will eventually take it into Photoshop. I'm not going to focus too much on it, but there's a chance that we can look into that as well. I can't do everything, obviously, because a lot of people probably want to move on to the next sort of sculpt soon, because they probably want to see me sculpt something more than this orc at some point. But for those that want to see it, I can share that. Yeah. Turn on the symmetry again. Chat's very quiet tonight. Wondering if there's anybody actually watching. If you have any questions about anything, just chuck it in this chat and I'll share it with the group. There we are. Yeah, change the music. It's a bit the same, too much of the same. Yeah. Did everybody else see the latest Fantastic Four trailer by any chance? And also, what did you think of the thing from that trailer? Because I'm in two worlds about it, really. I like the fact that it's sort of going back to the comic book style. You know, much more closely related to the comic book style. But I think the head is a little bit odd. I can deal with the body being all right, the size it is and stuff, but the head it was just off for me a little bit. So yeah, kind of weird. I'll show you what I did. I think if you've seen my Instagram page, you would have seen me do a draw over. Sorry, I'll just share that again quick. So I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom one is what I did, right? And the top one is from the film. If you see, there's something about the jawline just on the left-hand side of him, or the right-hand side of him. If we're looking at him, it's on his left. It just looks a little bit too shallow for me. So I did a little bit of, and also his shoulders are a bit small as well. So I did a bit of a paint over of him quickly in Photoshop, and a bit of stretch and liquefy, just to make his proportions look a little bit more human. But I guess they're probably going more comic book accurate. But I would have preferred maybe just a little bit more of a bulkier bottom jaw and shoulders. It could just be his eyebrows are the thing that's making it really stand out too much, maybe. I don't know. That's my thoughts. I would have preferred to have him slightly bulkier and also taller. I think taller would have been better as well. I got one here from Carlos. Says those strokes are much better in subdivided. Yes, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. We are currently working on a model with 5 million polygons at subdivision level 5, and we've come away from the Dynamesh stage, and we're now working in the sort of, this is our final character look. So we're going to stick with what we have here and just add more detail to it, if that's what you meant. Just gonna smooth those blinkers a little bit. Just gonna make these Fraulein, German here. Just make these Frauleins come out a bit more. thing about wrinkles is you have to also remember that your character has gravity pulling on him, right? So when you're adding wrinkles, it's best to try to add the weight on the bottom of it, especially if it's very defined wrinkles like these. You want to make sure to add the weight to your character, otherwise it looks too floaty, if you know what I mean. So you can see here with this wrinkle here, at the moment it's sort of jutting out too much that way upwards. I want to kind of bring it down a little bit, so I'm just going to add some weight to the bottom of this wrinkle here, along there, and that just brings that sort of wrinkle coming down a bit more. And then you can use a dam standard to just emphasize that a bit more, just underneath. Now this eyebrow here needs to be moved over a little bit, so it's a bit more asymmetrical on that, on this side. There we are. I keep forgetting that there's a sort of time delay with the ZBrush, the YouTube live stream. So it's kind of like it's 5 seconds lagging, or 5-second lag, before I actually see what I just did. So yeah, it's just a bit weird. I'm not used to this live streaming stuff. There's also the latest trailer for the Jurassic World film, the new one coming out. I don't know if you guys have seen that one as well. That looked quite interesting. Dinosaurs have always been a sort of passion, to be honest. Well, just any creatures, really. Cool. So. Grab this standard brush and just bring that wrinkle out. There we are. This looks a bit weird because I ain't got his teeth in there, but once you turn off the solo mode, you can then see it's got quite a good teeth in there. I got one. Joseph says, I liked it, just that tiger stripes on the T-Rex was a little bit weird to me. Yeah, I think they did that because they didn't want people to think that it was the original T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Rexy, I think they dubbed the name Rexy for, I think, which I think is great, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we need to. The whole franchise needs to move away from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, the first 3 Jurassic World films, and just start something completely new. You know, like just do something new. I'm a little bit tired of the same old with Jurassic Park, and the problem is when you think of Jurassic Park, you don't think you only. It's almost as if there's only one dinosaur film, and that's called Jurassic Park. Whenever you try to make a dinosaur film, I don't know how or why, but it's always got to be Jurassic Park. I just wonder why they have the monopoly on dinosaur films, you know? It's always bugged me a little bit. Why people can't just go in and say, oh, I want to make a dinosaur film not related to the Jurassic World or Jurassic Park series. But again, I can't wait to see what they do with this one. The monsters in it look a little bit more newer, if you know what I mean. All right, I'm just going to come in here with this nose Not quite sure what I'm going to do with this nose. I'm going to try and find an image in here. A bit better looking nose. Maybe I'll take that one. I'll give it a dip in there. Grab the clay brush. Clay brush is also a very good brush to use when it comes to this sort of detailing, especially if you have a monster like this, because you want the skin to be slightly, like it's got fat underneath, you know, well, fat deposits underneath its skin as well, so it doesn't look so smooth. So just going around the sort of face with this, just make those little imperfections in the skin, like the bumpiness of the skin, a little bit more pronounced and not so flat. I think we used this in the last stream, if I'm not mistaken, to add some shape. Okay. It's not looking too bad. You can see here with this sort of asymmetrical detailing here, it's coming along really nicely here in the center of the face there. Okay. I'm just going to grab that smooth standard brush a little bit. I'm just going to pull these little wrinkles out around the eyes a bit more. Now, technically, I wouldn't really spend this much time detailing the face like this. This is more of like a more finalized model that I'd be doing. If I was just to do it for concept or conceptual sculpt, I wouldn't spend this much time really doing all these little details. But I just wanted to kind of show you the brush sets and stuff I use. And I tend to use very basic brush sets as well. I don't like using too many weird and wonderful brushes, because it just sort of confuses people, especially people who are beginners to the sort of program. I don't want to confuse you guys. I just want you guys to know that these basic brushes in ZBrush can really get you very far. And if you can master these brushes, then you will be an amazing artist, really. Just use a little bit of asymmetry on the front here now, on this lip. Change that music. Let's get on my nose now. Alright. Cool. Just having a quick look around. Again, as I keep saying in every single video I think I've ever made, don't stay in one spot too long, and keep moving around your model, because you want to see it from all angles. Otherwise you could be just focusing too much on one space for too long and not taking into consideration the rest of your model. It's a very important rule when sculpting. Not bad, is it? Not bad at all. Gonna add some shape to the front here with the clay brush. There we are. Yeah, cool. Damn standard. Joseph is asking, how's, oops, not that one. How is your week going so far? Well, not too bad. We are coming to Friday. No, what day is it? Thursday, Friday. Yeah, we're coming to Friday tomorrow, and yeah, I can't wait for the weekend. Even though I just, do this sort of work in the weekend, I still can't wait to sort of get away from the 9 to 5 job. I've got some shelves to put up and all that sort of thing, and I hope everyone else is having a great weekend or week, sorry, so far. But yeah, I mean, I can't complain too much. The week's going all right. So the damn standard, I'm just kind of coming here with the damn standard on these lips quick, and just starting from the front, just flick the damn standard towards the mouth, and also try to vary up those lines a bit. So if you sculpt one here, then sculpt one on the other side. Don't sculpt everything in one area. Try to sort of vary it up a bit more. And then we can come in with the standard brush and just puff those up a bit. Like that. I mean, you could, like I say, you could go to town and you can just keep adding more and more detail to these. As much as you like. There we are. I'm not too worried about the interior of the mouth because it's, like I say, it's a concept, so we're not going to worry too much about the interior of the mouth. So we'll just leave it as is. But you can, if you want, sort of sculpt the interior of the mouth and open up the mouth and all that, if you so wish to. But we're not going to do that. I'm just going to break up this lip in the middle here. Just with a down stand, I'm just going to sort of come over on one side like that. That just sort of breaks that very symmetrical look of the lip. And you can even come in here and do the same thing just a few times around the edges here. Okay, and I think we'll just use a clay brush quick. Come in just along this area here a bit, and just fill in a very deep cavity that was there. Then grab the standard brush and just pull that out. There we are. It's kind of like sort of very loose skin around those areas around his mouth, because once he opens his mouth, that will have that effect of sort of pulling. As the teeth pull down, the jaw goes down, the sort of flesh around it will stretch. That's why they got so many wrinkles around the sort of mouth area of these creatures, these specific creatures even, because their mouth is really big when it opens up. There we are. Whew. Okay, let's just grab a quick drink. Um, yeah. Cool. Okay, I think that's enough for the face now. We're just gonna move down the shoulders onto the chest. Now, because there's a bust, we're not going to worry too much about a lot of this area down here, because when we come to render it, we're going to sort of crop it quite a bit. So first off, I just want to come in with a smooth brush and just smooth off some of this detail. Don't smooth too much, don't heavy-handed it. Just very lightly roll your brush along the Wacom tablet and just smooth some of those areas up a bit, because we still like the bumpiness of the texture of the skin. We still like the feeling it gives us when we look at it. We can even add more bumpiness to it as well, just with the clay brush. Just pull those out, bulk it up a bit. Yeah, there we go. Yes, a lot of artists beginning artists will sort of skip the fatty tissue, or the fatty sort of section of the sculpt, where they add the layer of fat which would be sitting on the character's body, and they'll just have these like really lean, muscular looking characters, which is not a bad thing, but even they have fat deposits that sort of sit, you know. So if you can pull yourself away from just having this really muscular, hulkish, sort of strongman looking character, and add some fatty deposits to him to sort of bulk up his size, but it's kind of like having a sort of larger person, but you know that he's got muscle underneath, you know, because he's so big. It's that sort of not being able to see that muscle. Sometimes it's much better than having just a pure muscular character. We can really bulk him out with the clay brush. You see, we know that he's got muscle there, but it's hidden underneath a layer of sort of fat. Just makes it a little bit more believable as well. I'm going to use a standard brush now to pull out these tendrils. Neck tendons. Yeah. Getting better. Yeah, a lot of beginning artists will tend to start with a male character, and even I did that as well when I started. I started off sculpting the male anatomy, because with male anatomy, it's a lot easier because you get more hard shapes, you know. When you're doing female sculpts or female anatomy, it can be very difficult to get it right, because it's such a soft form that you're trying to do, trying to create. So it kind of goes in this sort of order. It goes men or male model, female model, child, and then baby. Babies are probably the worst ones to do, because they're just literally soft. Everything is soft. There's no shape to their face. There's no shape to their body. They're just literally soft creatures, or anatomy. And that can be very daunting to have to try and make something, or make a character from a very soft features. So a lot of artists would start with this sort of creature that we're doing here, or a male equivalent human. So even at this point of the sculpt, we can still come in and move things around if we think that we need to move things around. We don't, if we feel like it's not quite sitting right, we just come in with the move brush and just very slowly move them into the correct way that we like it. Got a question here from Joseph again. Says, when you are finished with the concept, how much time you wait until you publish it to social media or to your portfolio? So last year I had the plan to post every week on a Monday, and normally I do, when I post my artwork, it'll be on a Monday. So that's when I normally post my stuff. This year is different because this year I'm taking a week off from posting every week. So the next post will be next week. Funny enough, will be the next character that I've created, and you'll be able to see that one on Monday. If you're a Patreon, you'll be able to see it on Friday, and yeah, it's every other week from now for this year, because I also need time to rest, and also time to create these videos and everything else that I'm trying to do by myself. But yeah, so normally, yeah, like I said, normally it would be every week, but for this year it's going to be every other week. I'm just going to continue around here. I'm not going to be worried too much about the back here, even though I like the way it's actually going, and I'd actually quite like to make the whole body at some point. So having a nice strong structure like this to come back to, because for me in particular, I get really bored really quickly when it comes to trying to finish a character to completion. My mind tends to wander, and then I'll start another project, and I'll forget about this one. So to have something which has got a nice solid starting point like this one will have, I can then come in and I can start making the body, so maybe the torso. I'll work my way down the torso, and then I'll build the legs out and the arms. But yeah, I like to vary my concepts quite a bit, so I'll probably come back to this one in a couple of weeks or a couple of months' time and try to finish it full body, depending on the schedule I have. Okay, so let's say we are happy with the way this is right now. So we've just gone around using the basic brushes. We've added some secondary wrinkles, so the bigger wrinkles that we could find on our face. We could, if we wanted, go and do the same thing for the body. So see here, we got a couple of lines in here that we could draw out with the dam standard, starting around here where there's a bit of wrinkles going around here. It's essentially the same treatment as we did for the top. So we'll just use the dam standard to make the wrinkle or place the wrinkle, and then we'll just use the standard brush to fill it out. But because we're not going to really see too much down here, don't have to worry too much about it. So we won't do too much there. There we are. The next thing I like to do, as I mentioned at the very beginning, just move that there a bit. As I mentioned at the beginning, I like to use alpha maps to then add the detail on top. So I've added some alpha maps here. You can see I've just gone and added a few of these alphas from my library that I've got of alphas. And I'll be using these to just plaster to our model. And don't think too much about it. Just go in and start adding detail as much as I like. So I'm just going to grab the spray. I'm going to use a standard brush for the spray and this alpha wrinkle. If you don't have this alpha wrinkle, you can use alpha 60. It will do the same sort of thing. It's just that the alpha one, the one I have here, alpha 60, just has a few more lines on it. You see, a few more variations in the line depth. By the way, you can grab these alphas from the Pixologic, what do you call it? Pixologic library. That's all free. I hope it's still Pixologic. It might have changed to Maxim. I haven't had a look in a long time. But you can grab these alphas from there. They're all free, and use them in your own sort of concept. I'm gonna change. 1 second. I'm going to come in here to modify for these alphas. I'm just going to hit the surface button, surface details mode. And that's just going to make it so it's surface detailed mode, so it won't go too deep with the wrinkles you can see there. Another thing I want to do is just go to stroke and turn on lazy mouse, which is already turned on. I just want to change the, I believe it's the lazy step. And just bump that up a bit. This is just going to make it so that the alpha will stamp every 0.34 sort of distance away from each other, instead of being on top of each other, because then it just becomes a whole mess. So if I tap on L on the keyboard and I do that again, you can see, oh, it's just one whole mess of wrinkles going on here, because it hasn't got that step with the lazy mouse. So once you turn lazy mouse back on, you see it's the length of the brush is pulled out first and then stamped, and then stamped, and then stamped, and then stamped. So that's just something that might be handy for you guys to know. Cool. I might have to actually subdivide this character one more time for these details. We are sitting at subdivision level 5 at the moment, but I think my computer can handle subdivision level 6, which would then take it to 23 million polygons. And for this type of detailing, like surface detailing, you're gonna want a really nice high number, otherwise it just looks so pixelated, you know? Cool. So starting around here, I'm just gonna draw these wrinkles down the face, sort of going along the face, like the geometry, instead of coming down like this, which you could do. I'm going to go along the face like that. I'm just going to add a couple of variant ones around the top here, and then going up the head, up and over. It might be a little bit difficult to see, but if we change the texture to, let's try the skin. I don't know if you can see anything there. Got so many textures here. Trying to find a good one to use. Maybe it was the one we had. But basically what I'm doing is just adding this really, if you can see these lines, these are the tertiary, very light, small details we can add all over the head and body. And as we get to the body, we can start to make them slightly bigger. As they come down, the muscles. You see, we're only using one map at the moment. You could use as many maps as you like, but for me, I like to keep them very small, the amount of maps. I'm not pushing too hard on the pen or the tablet either. Just letting the brush lightly dance along the model, basically. I'm going to solo this head and come back in here, turn off symmetry, make the wrinkles smaller, or the brush smaller, and just come in here, add these wrinkles. Now, if you get to a point where you're finding there's some weird angles that your wrinkles are going in this way with the brush, they're not kind of conforming very well, you can then use the drag out tool instead, and then drag out your wrinkle instead. So for this one, I'm going to use another wrinkle that I've got in my library, which is this one. And this one's great for adding some variation. You can see there. You've got nice lines coming through here. And this one can be used in a lot of areas as well. We put it here. You just got to figure out where the best place to put it, really. Yeah, that'll do. And I'm just going to turn off symmetry. Add one just in the middle there. And then grab a wrinkle brush, the first wrinkle brush. And let's just spray that here. I'll do. Can't forget the ears, just add some lines on the ears. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So that is those little lines, all that little detail on the skin that we have. And now you can come in. Now you can see what I meant about having a non-clean canvas. So now we've added all these wrinkles that we have, like lines. We're no longer, we shouldn't, be scared to go in now and detail even further. So just coming in here with the dam standard, just going to turn it down a little bit on the intensity. You can see where we have a wrinkle that we've plastered. We can now come in with the dam standard and just very lightly sort of boost those wrinkles even more, So we don't have to worry about putting every single wrinkle down by hand. We already have a good base to work with these alphas we've added. And we can just come in and emphasize some of these lines a bit more. And come in with the standard brush, turn off the alphas, go back to add, and just, gotta make sure that the stroke is turned off. So press L on the keyboard to turn off the stroke, and that will just turn off that step that we had. And I'm just gonna pull out some of these wrinkles around here, make it a little deeper. Of course, this is just me showing you how to do it. as a sort of explanation, but you can go around the whole model and do the same thing. You see, we now have much more detailed sort of eyebrows there, which is kind of funny because they look kind of weird, but it's not a problem. Not a problem. Grab the dam standard, just follow these lines through here. Turn off symmetry for the middle, and just gonna emphasize a few of these other lines quick. Turn off the solo so we can have a look. Now you could also use layers and morph targets to sort of help you to pull back, push in, pull back, push in the details that you're sculpting. So if you found that you made a mistake, you can use a morph target inside of ZBrush to fix that mistake. And it's a lot easier to use a morph target than it is to try to resculpt it, because you can just take it back to where it used to be. But I think I'll leave that for a different video to do to use it in. Just want to try and get this model done. And just going around, add in more detail. It's very quiet, the chat room tonight. Is everybody too tired or concentrating, maybe, on their own projects? By the way, let me know what kind of projects you guys are working on as well. I mean, it's not like it has to be a sort of professional piece or anything. It could just be a personal project that you're working on. You might want to sort of get some feedback or sort of ideas from other people. Also, do people use Discord as well? I thought I'd just ask that because I'm not sure whether or not to actually make a Discord or just carry on with what I have at the moment. I mean, it'll just be another thing for me to have to moderate or go into. So I'm not quite sure what everyone uses, or if they would prefer to use that as well. I'm going to change that music. It's getting on my nose now. Master Splinter. Ironically, I'm working on an Orc Sculpt 2, and you are giving some great tools for me to step this up. Thank you. Oh, that's great. What sort of Orc are you working on? By the way, if you don't mind me asking, is it the sort of Lord of the Rings, or is it World of Warcraft, or another fantasy type creature? Yeah, just let me know. I got one here, Joseph. Today I realized yesterday was too early to consider Azog as finished. Today, with fresh eyes, I found two things I could have adjusted more in the composition. Well, that's great. Yeah, I think I helped you out with that, didn't I? Yeah, composition is very key when it comes to the final part when you're trying to make it a portfolio ready piece. And when we get into Photoshop, I'm going to show a couple of examples. Well, I want to show an example of good and bad composition. Even just how it's set up can make or break a concept. But it's this sort of stuff. Actually, it takes time to learn. So it's not like it's going to come straight away, basically. So yeah, it's all a learning curve. But you're doing great. If you look at what you had before and what you have now, there's a massive difference to what you've created so far. Got one here from Aldrin Arts 3D. Glad to catch one of your streams. Appreciate all your guides and learning materials. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Got one here from Master Splinter again. He's doing a 75mm figure with a great axe. It's an old school D&D and Warcraft inspired design. Oh, that's brilliant. It's going to be 3D printed, I believe, right? Yeah, I want to do more 3D printed versions of stuff as well, but I just can't find the time right now. But yeah, that's great, man. That's great. Yeah, just got Joseph saying, yes, you gave me a very big help at the sculpt and at the composition as well. So thank you so much. Well, just here to help, I guess. Yeah, your work is coming along very nicely, and you should be proud of the sort of work that you're creating. You should always be proud of your own work, really. There are some things that you probably won't be proud of, but at the time, you should be proud of what you've achieved, basically. I've got some really horrendous looking models or concepts that I have from very far back. I'll try and find them and I'll bring them on for next stream. But it's horrible stuff. You know, we've all been there. Everybody's been at that point in their career where they just can't get things the way they want, but it clicks after a while. So shouldn't feel too bad. Cool. So next thing I want to do is grab the standard brush, and there's a pause here. I think this is the one, and this will be great. This is great for specifically like the nose area, and because it's a male orc, the sort of dimples around the beard area as well. This will work great for those. And so just want to come in and kind of add these in here. Doesn't have to be too pronounced, so you can actually come in with the smooth brush. Just make sure the smooth intensity is set down a bit, and just come in and smooth out a little bit, like that. I'm actually going to solo here, and I'll do the same thing for the top of the lip, so where his mustache would be, like that, and then on the sides as well. And the top side of the chin, on the chin here. And what you could also do is put it onto Z add and pull it out again over the top, and you can see it adds that little bit of like dimples, you know, little imperfections in the skin, and that'll come in handy a lot when it comes to texture as well. a few on the... maybe we'll just take those ones off first. For the ears, you can add these for the ears as well. And just underneath here as well, just add some like that. Alternate between add and subtract, basically. You can see now he's got a very sort of dimply looking chin going on, which is great. That's the sort of thing we're going for. All right. Oh God, change this music again. I'm gonna have to find new music, guys. This is crazy. It's driving me nuts. Yeah. So we just got Master Splinter saying yes, it'll be a resin printed when it is all done. Time is the crux for every project I have found. Yes, definitely. Time is the crux. We got one from Aldrin saying, I'm working on a hard surface sculpt for a sci-fi walkie-talkie for a university project. That's cool. What university are you going to? What university you go to? Are you, and whereabouts are you guys all from? That'd be great to know as well. But yeah, that's cool. So, are you more into character or environments and items and stuff like that? Because I know that a lot of universities have this thing where they tell their students to do environment stuff because it's easier to get into, say, game design or well, basically game design. If you do a lot more environmental stuff, and then if you want to be a character artist, work once you're in the studio or the industry, then start adding some character art stuff. But I always found that was a bit weird, so I don't really tend to like that sort of approach. If you want to be a character artist, you do characters. You don't do environments and then characters. You do just characters, and that sort of worked for me. He says, I attend the University of Staffordshire, and would definitely like to specialize in character art for games soon. Yeah, well, definitely try to get some anatomy sculpts done. So it doesn't have to be a full character. Do some arms, some legs, some torsos, some heads. Get them in your portfolio. Doesn't have to be perfect models either. You can just have like work in progress pieces. And I say this to everybody. A lot of these companies, although they want the best artists, they also want to see whether or not you know the basics of sculpting. And having a really cool piece, like one really cool piece, and then having nothing else in your portfolio is not going to sit right for potential employers. So you want to have a good piece, and then you want to have also some work in progress pieces. That's what I would look for anyway, to know whether or not you know how to use ZBrush or you know how to use Substance Painter and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I would do anyway. Right, so same thing with the head, because he will have sort of follicles on the head, but without using the sort of dragging feature that we're doing. We're just going to use a spray for this because we just want to have a little bit of variation around the top here. So just using the spray, turn the intensity down a little bit more, and I'm just going to spray the head with this map. There we are. Okay, and of course with the body, same thing with the body. We can use the drag for this one instead, and just going to drag out. First of all, just going to make that slightly less intense, and just drag out a few. I think that actually breaks it a bit. So what we'll do is we'll undo these. I'm sure there's another one in here we can use. I think this one here, skin pore. Just see what this looks like. Ooh. Bit too hard. Oh, there's actual skin pull one here. That's not too bad. We use it sparingly. You should be able to get away with it. Now, of course, this isn't a very good model. Now that we're putting all this detail in, I'm not sure how the resin printers are these days. I'm sure people are going to shout at me for saying this, but we're at this point now where if you wanted to do a 3D print, then you would not add as much detail as we're adding. So these really fine pores and stuff, I believe, don't sort of, you know, take my word for it. I believe that 3D printers can't really get into these sort of very small pores that I'm creating here very well at the moment. I'm hoping in the future they will be able to, but this is more of a finer piece. If it was to be a 3D printable piece, I wouldn't add all this detail. I would just sort of make a more flatter version of this model, but with much bigger wrinkles in certain key areas to make it look better. But I'm not sure because I haven't done 3D printing in a while. So please be kind in the chat. Just gonna add some wrinkles under the neck there, because we seem to have missed it. So Aldrin says, unless the print was fairly large, I doubt the technology is there right now. Oh, thank God for that. God, oh, that's good then. Yeah, I thought that as much. I thought that as well. I'd love to at some point, you know, be able to have a print, because I believe it's up to 12K now printing with Anycube. I have Anycubic, and I've got an 8K. Oh, sorry, a 6K version. But I believe from the last time I saw, they're up to 12K now, which is just crazy. But I haven't got the money to buy a 12K printer at the moment. As much as I'd love to, I just don't have the money for it. They've come a long way, I must say. They have come a long way since they first started. It's kind of like the AI art, isn't it? It's like every year they have another 3D printer, which is the next resolution up. So I'm guessing the next one will be 24K in about a couple of months' time. It's very difficult to keep up with those 3D printing machines if you're into that sort of thing, because they keep making new ones every like 6 months, you know. So, but if you're, you know, very dead set on learning it, then yeah. And if you have a business and you need it, then yeah, definitely go for it. But yeah, it's too much money for me right now. So I'm just going to emphasize some of these wrinkles under here more. The standard brush. I turned off lazy mouse by hitting L on the keyboard. Just going to freehand it basically. There's a weird thing going there. I honest to God don't know how these live streamers do this every single day. The ones that are constantly online. This is difficult stuff to do. Very difficult. have to turn this intensity down a bit more. Most of Splinter says the 8K printers that are out now can pull some good details. Yeah, definitely. I think I've done a few prints, like I said. I think everyone's seen this one from a couple of weeks ago on the other live stream that I did. Yeah, I got a little sci-fi character I printed. And that's about as far as I got with 3D printing, really. But now, anyway. Okay, got some more questions here from Cadman Wayland. What perspective are you using? 85mm? When does it make sense to develop a character with or without perspective? So that's a good question. I tend to stick with, let's hope it's in here. I tend to stick with the 50mm at horizontal, not vertical, because when you're sculpting in ZBrush, you're sculpting on a canvas that is horizontal, right? So you can see this white line is the border of our canvas. And if I zoom out a little bit, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like a slightly, let me change the color actually. So the background, you can see, is horizontal. If I was to just hide this quick. If I was to go to draw and switch it to vertical, it changes the lens for a portrait, right? And because we're not working in portrait, it's a little bit dangerous to work vertically rather than horizontally with that method. So I tend to, when I'm doing it when I'm sculpting, I put on horizontal and 50 because it's closer to the normal 50-60mm sort of camera that you would use for film and game. Well, film mostly, but game and stuff. So if it was too small, like 18, you can see it's kind of fish-eyed now. And if you were sculpting and you had it looking like this, but in 18mm, when you take that into Maya or some other 3D program, it is just going to look really weird. It's going to be like looking at like that, you know, like the face would be very stretched. So I normally stick to 50, 85. I'll use 85 for rendering, but when you're doing a concept, you don't have to worry too much about the camera focal point or the focal point of the lens, because you're trying to get a good image. If you're doing a character for film or game, I would stick with 50 at horizontal. If your canvas is horizontal, make it horizontal. If it's portrait or vertical, make it vertical, basically. Change that back, zoom in a bit. We are. We got one from Waka Maker. Hello everyone. Hello Waka. Anyone saw the Rebirth trailer? That Spino looks so cool. Love they put Komodo dragons as the main reference for the textures. Yeah, it's actually been quite a while since we've seen a Spinosaurus. I think it was called was it Jurassic Park 3? It was Spinosaurus aegypticus or something. I don't know. But yeah, I did see the Rebirth trailer. I would show the trailer, but I think Universal Studios has a copyright thing that they do, apparently. So if you show the trailer, they'll copyright your channel or whatever. So I don't really want to push it too far, but I do think that the mutated dinosaur that they have on that island is going to be something that's really going to look cool. So yeah, definitely want to see that. Podman Wayland says, thanks. Doesn't it make sense to switch off perspective for good realistic anatomy? No. You want to be working when you're doing organics, you want to be working in perspective. For robotics and hard surface, it's okay to work without perspective, because as I mentioned, the fisheye lens thing, if I was to turn off the perspective and sculpt without perspective turned on and sculpt it looking like this, when I turn perspective off, it's going to look really weird. It's going to look extremely weird. So when you're doing organics, it's always best to have your perspective turned on. For hard surfaces, it's a different ball game. You can, because you work differently and you sculpt differently with hard surface, so you don't really need the perspective turned on for that. But yeah, definitely organics, I would highly recommend you keep perspective turned on. Got one here from Akrith Olsen. I hope I said that right. Hey, will you stream the Photoshop process? Yes, I will. As soon as I've finished with this texturing or detailing, then I will do the Photoshop process. I can't tell you when that will be, because it's taking quite a while to get this character done, because it's kind of a chilled stream that we're doing here, and we just talk and I talk you through the processes a bit more. But there will be a Photoshop process for this one. Or if you want, and you kind of want to take a step back from this, and you want to see me do something that I might have done in the past, like one of my other concepts that was done in Photoshop, you want to just see how those processes work, then I can show that one. If we just take a break from this project and then show you how to do something in Photoshop for another live stream, and then we can come back to this orc and finish off the orc. I can give you some tips about the Photoshop process in another live stream. Maybe we should do that one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that next live stream. I will take a model from the past, which I've done for a time-lapse video, and I'll put it through Photoshop, and I'll show you how I composite it through Photoshop, just to take a break from the orc for a bit, and show you how to do things inside of Photoshop. Cool. I think I'm gonna stop the sculpting there. I think I've done quite a bit, actually, if you think about it. We've done all the sort of fine detailing on the top here, and we've got some detailing. As I mentioned, we won't go too far with the body. I might just add some veins and scars and stuff like that later in the next tutorial for sort of sculpt for this one. I might even add a ponytail, because I think ponytail look quite cool with this character. I think there's one in here. Yeah, you can see just a little hint of a ponytail up there. Maybe even some beard. Maybe we could go to town with this one if we're going to just sort of sculpt it and keep sculpting it. But I think I'm going to leave it there for now, because we've done quite a bit, and I'm just going to pop into the solo quick. Cool. Cadman says, looks very good already, as always. A pleasure to watch. Very motivating. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's what I tend to do. Learn, create, inspire. The 3 mottos that I use to in my videos. So I'm hoping this inspires people, and you're seeing it in real time as well. I know a lot of people have been asking for more real-time work, so this is it. Before we finish this live stream, I just want to share some selfless plugging. If you're still here, 13 people are here, don't leave, please. So if you want, you can become a member of this channel, and let me just get the membership banner out. So You can become a member of the YouTube channel, and you can get all the past live streams and archived streams through the membership, and you can watch the dragon tutorial that we're doing, which is mainly a tutorial and not a sit down and sort of chat like this. And you could also get these live stream, the Thursday live streams as well. And also the very long live streams, which I'm starting to do now. So I'm going to have days where I go to my past creations and I put them on as a live stream. And once they've finished, then they'll be archived into the membership as well. So you can sit back, relax, listen to some music, and watch the sort of past streams in real time. Real time is in normal time, not sped up. And I also have a Patreon, and the Patreon, you get to see previews, you get to see download models from my time-lapse videos that I have, the only ones with the full body characters. You get to download those models and have a look for yourself. You also get tutorials, which I'll talk about in a minute, a bit more in a minute, and also money off online for my online stores. Speaking of which, on my online stores, so you can grab all the tutorials, the brushes, models from my online stores. So that's Flip Normals, Gumroad, ArtStation, and ZBrush. Those are my 4 online stores you can grab. ZBrush at the moment is a 30% off at the checkout. It's automatically it's an automatic transaction, so when you buy something you get 30% off at the checkout for that, and that's going for the rest of this month of February. So, and before I leave, I just want to say what's coming up next week. So next week will be, oops, let me just get rid of that banner. Next week on a Tuesday will be the ZBrush to Photoshop 9-hour video live stream, and that will start at 9 a.m. GMT and then run for 9 hours, and then after that it'll be put into an archive. The reason I put it for 9 hours instead of 12 hours is because YouTube only lets you archive 11 hours 55. Well, they say 12 hours, but it's actually 11 hours 55, and that cut the major part of the last stream off. So I'm going to do 2 projects this time, which equals to around 9 hours. So you can just sit back all day and listen to some music and watch how I created those 2 projects. And at the moment, my Patreons are going through the ZBrush to Photoshop tutorial on the dragon bust. This is something that I have for sale online, but I thought for the new year, to refresh ourselves, I'll put this up as a tutorial, a weekly tutorial online. So every week you'll get a video on how to make this sort of ZBrush to Photoshop tutorial of the dragon bust. And coming in April, so you guys are going to see this now, coming in April is the latest and only available on Patreon tutorial on how to sculpt your own Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. And this is for beginners and experienced artists. I basically hold your hand and take you through how to create this exact dinosaur. You also have access, if you're a Patreon tier 3, you'll have access to the project files and stuff like that as well. Just in time for the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World trailer, I guess you could say, which is quite a coincidence. So yeah, that will be coming in April for my Patreons. And finally, I just want to say thank you to my YouTube members, Joseph Bankowski, Nitzia Kracht, the Cool Beans podcast, Matteo Selek, Jace Burgoyne, Artza, and the new one or the latest one, sorry, Dave Newhouse. I just want to thank you guys for being the first members. I think, Joseph, you're coming up to your first month, so you'll be going into the next sort of membership badge that I'll be adding on soon. And also want to thank my Patreons as well. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll just go through tier 3 for now. So we've got Aaron Todman, Ganesh, Robert Backerman, and Erwin Vandermine. I want to thank you guys for all of you for being members for so long. And I think that's it. I'm just going to check the comments section one last time. So, what we got here? Common. Your work is absolutely inspiring. Says on the Master Splinter on the calendar. I don't know what that means. Are you talking about the Velociraptor sculpt? I don't know, but yeah, that will be in April. The Velociraptor sculpt. One here from Cadman Wayland saying, "Is it possible to post pictures in the chat?" Now you see, that's why I wanted to talk about the Discord, because I think I need to open a Discord so that we can all share the work that we're doing and build a bit of a community. So I'm going to look into that a bit more, and as soon as I get that up and running, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, at some point we should build something like that. We've got Aldrin Arts 3D saying your selfless plug was quite tempting. Well, if you want to learn from me how to do things in 3D or become a creature or character artist, then it's up to you. I'm not forcing you. I'm just saying that's what's available. Going here saying from Master Splinter saying, I've got your streams on the calendar. Laugh it out. Looking forward to them. Oh, that's great. So the 9-hour live stream sculpts will be the same as the time-lapse sculpts. There'll be one every other week, as far as I know. I'll keep you guys up to date though. I got one here from Joseph saying Discord would be great. Same from Aldrin saying a Discord would be lovely. Joseph at Aldrin 3D, you won't regret it if you jump in. Thank you. All right. So with that being said, I want to say thank you all for joining tonight. It's been a very, very long slog through this model, but we are getting there slowly. So next Thursday, we'll take a break from this orc. I'll get a concept from long ago, and I'll show you how to composite inside of Photoshop. So until then, thank you very much for joining me tonight, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. And yeah, take care. See ya. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes, and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching and stay safe.